Welcome to episode 22 of Secret City Geek Lab, your resource in everything geek. We'll talk movies, TV, comic books, video games, and anything geek. I'm your host, Alan Ng, and you'll hear from me and members of the improv comedy group Secret City Comic Society. This week we're joined by Joey Shope, Will Acker, Sophia Bien, and Davey Lynham. Today's show is brought to you by Secret City Comic Society, the best in all ages improv comedy in downtown Fullerton. Visit Secret City Comic Society and the Geek Lab at secretcitycomedy.com. Coming up this week, we have an additional review of Pacific Rim by Sophia Bien. We have another movie review of R.I.P.D., and we have highlights from Comic-Con and other news that came out of Comic-Con. But first, let's go to that review of Pacific Rim by Sophia Bien. I'm with Sophia Bien, and she saw Pacific Rim. What did you think of Pacific Rim?
It's about an alien invasion that has been increasing in number, and the world is going to end. So humanity decides to rally together and build giant robots to defeat them.
All right, what did you think of the movie?
I thought that there was a lot of hype about it. A lot of my friends said they loved it. I went in with low expectations and had them met.
Okay, so...
I thought structure was fantastic. I thought it was really organized, but there was a lot of lack of
story structure? Or
the story structure was great, but the character development, not so much.
Okay.
They had a lot of tidbits of stuff, but they didn't really go anywhere with it.
It was more about the action than it was about the character.
Definitely. It's a lot more about the action, but it's still fun. It's entertaining.
Okay, so what did you think of special effects? What did you think of the giant monsters and the giant robots?
I know a lot of people had problems with it. I didn't have problems with it. It was fun. It's shiny. Everything was brightly lit, and it was fun.
Yeah, and it looked fairly real? Or?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. But I think that's part of it. That's part of the fun, that it's very unrealistic.
Okay, so what were things you liked about the movie?
I liked how they tightened dinosaurs.
Okay.
So that was pretty interesting. And
you like the science aspect?
Yes, the science aspect. And the structure itself. I thought it was very clean structure, structure.
And what are things you didn't like about the movie?
I didn't like how cheesy it could be sometimes. I mean, I love cheesy stuff, but it just, it was a little over the top.
So is it the acting, the story, the special effects? Did you say were cheesy?
I think the dialogue needed work. The dialogue, I think it wasn't fantastic, but it was just mediocre. And so some of the lines just comes off very cheesy. There's like stereotypes that they're playing off of. And so it's kind of like, okay, well, I've seen this movie a million times before in other ways.
Because, movies like this tend to have some inspiring moment at the end. Was there one of those?
There was. There's huge ideas of sacrifice. That's the thing. They had great possible moments that never really touched the heart for, I guess, someone who's cold-hearted.
That never
like
really
me.
paid off.
Yeah. I think some people really enjoyed how heartfelt some of those moments were. I just felt those moments weren't earned. They were just kind of thrown in your face. So for me, I feel like I need to feel like I earned that moment, whereas it was just given to me.
Yeah, it was just there for the sake of being there.
Exactly.
All right, so from a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate Pacific Rim?
I'd give it a 6.5.
This is Secret City Geek Lab on KTST-FM. I'm Alan Ng, and moving right along, we had a review of Pacific Rim, and now we're going to go into a review of R.I.P.D. Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds headline this supernatural action adventure, R.I.P.D., as two cops dispatched by otherworldly rest-in-peace department to protect and serve the living from an increasing destructive array of souls who refuse to move peacefully into the other side. Once the wisecracking Roy, played by Jeff Bridges, is assigned to a former Rising Star detective, Nick Walker, played by Ryan Reynolds, as his junior officer, the new partners have to turn to grudging respect and turn that into top-notch teamwork when they uncover the plot that could end life as we know it. The two officers must miraculously restore the cosmic balance or watch the tunnel into the afterlife send angry souls the very wrong way. Secret City's movie expert and video game expert, Davey Lynham, has the review of R.I.P.D. I'm with Davey Lynham, and he saw R.I.P.D. What is R.I.P.D.?
R.I.P.D. is about a cop who gets murdered on the job and then becomes part of the R.I.P.D. or the Rest in Peace Department, where they hunt down dead people who have escaped back to the real world. Almost like a dead world police department.
Okay, so who stars in that?
Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds.
Okay, and what was what was their relationship like throughout the film? What were they trying to communicate?
Well, it was the basic, I've done this for years, I'm the badass cop, and the I'm new on the force type of relationship between these two.
Okay, so what were your general impressions of the movie?
I liked it a lot. It was such a beautiful movie to watch. You know, even though they had, monstrous-looking people on screen, the CGI was done really well. And
so when you say beautiful, what do you mean by beautiful?
Like, the shots were done very, methodically. The shots were set up very well. Another thing is they really paid attention to detail. In the movie, the characters have alter egos. And every once in a while, you'll spot the alter ego for a second as they're getting out of a car or walking down the street, and then they go back to what they really look like.
Okay, so to everybody, they look like someone different than what they are.
Yeah.
So the interaction between Jeff Bridges and Ryan Reynolds?
It was very well done. The chemistry between the two characters was really nice. Jeff Bridges really made that movie. He did such an amazing job as playing that witty, old-school Western kind of cop, while Jeff Bridges played more of a straight character.
Okay, what are some things you didn't like about the movie?
I did not like that the movie almost seemed to center around Jeff Bridges, even though Ryan Reynolds' character was the main character. I wanted to see more from the other characters, per se, because Jeff Bridges was, what you noticed the most, and it almost seemed like that was what I took out of the movie instead of necessarily the other characters of the plot.
Like the growth development of Ryan Reynolds' character. Okay, so from a scale from 1 to 10, what did you think of R.I.P.D.?
7.
This is KTST-FM. I'm Alan Ng, and this is Secret City Geek Lab, your resource for everything geek. Speaking of everything geek, the geekiest event that ever occurs once a year is Comic-Con San Diego, and as of this recording, that took place about a week ago. What used to be a gathering of fans of comic books is now a gathering of nerds and geeks, and a vehicle for movie and television studios to make big announcements. Big companies also use this occasion to bring their biggest stars to San Diego and to make just announcements that are meant to have people talking for a very long time. So we're going to talk about a couple of panels that occurred at Comic-Con this year. The first big one was the Marvel Studios panel. One of the highlights of the panel was that they discussed their 3 big projects, which was Thor, The Dark World, Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Guardians of the Galaxy. The panel opened in a very big way with the introduction of Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, and he took this opportunity to talk about what's coming up in Marvel Studios. Marvel, I would say, had the best overall presence here at Comic-Con this year. They brought their huge cast for not only Captain America, but for Guardians of the Galaxy as well. And let's talk over what happened at the Captain America panel. Kevin, he's talking about Thor: The Dark World, and then he goes right into Captain America. What you heard with Loki was basically what was brought about with Thor: The Dark World. YouTube is going to be having Geek Week, and is there that they're going to premiere the next big trailer for Thor. Moving on to Captain America, The Winter Soldier, he brings out the directors Joe and Anthony Russo, Frank Grillo, also known as Brock Rumlow, Kobe Smulders, who plays Maria Hill, Anthony Mackie, who stars as Falcon, which, if you're a comic book fan, you know that he had a successful team-up for a very long time with Captain America. Sebastian Stan returns from the movie Captain America, and he plays Bucky, who is also known as the Winter Soldier. Samuel L. Jackson appears as Nick Fury, and Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, and of course Chris Evans as Captain America. Chris starts off by talking about how it gets better every time he puts on the Captain America suit. He says it's satisfying knowing that the movies are good. He's talking about how good it feels to be part of such a quality enterprise. And he talks about how Steve Rogers, his character in the sequel, has a hard time adapting to the modern world and must somehow learn to discern what is really good and what is really bad. Because morals, ethics, questions about motives are definitely different today than they were back in the 1940s. He's getting there. It's not too much that he's a guy who lived in the 1940s. is catapulted to today. The movie is a lot more about him just being shocked with technology, like, oh, what is the internet? And oh, what are these cell phones that you can talk to people on boxes you can carry on? He's gone from the 40s to today, and it's just getting harder and harder for him to tell what's right and what's wrong. The actions that you take to protect people from threats could also compromise your liberties and privacies, which is something that they've been focusing on with S.H.I.E.L.D., is just how much of a free reign does S.H.I.E.L.D. have over protecting America? And all these questions are a tough pill to swallow for Steve Rogers. Also, Scarlett Johansson appears in the film, and they really share the movie together, according to Kevin Feige. We get to learn more about the Black Widow and what her life is like. And Chris Evans described Cap and Widow's relationship as being a very odd couple. This is Secret City Geek Lab at KTST-FM. I'm Alan Ng, your host, and we move right back. Oh, by the way, if you have not been to a Secret City Comic Society show, I encourage you to do that. It's a lot of fun. It's just right there in downtown Fullerton. Lots of places to eat, lots of bars to go drinking at, and Secret City is a great place just to have some good, clean fun. Come often. No two shows are ever alike, and please bring your friends. Moving on to more Comic-Con. After the Captain America panel, there was the Guardians of the Galaxy panel. Not a lot has been said about Guardians of the Galaxy other than the fact that Marvel recently introduced the comic book series written by Brian Michael Bendis and the amazing artwork of Sarah Pichelli. But now it's time to talk about the movie. Let's see. The panel was held in Hall H, and it was attended by the director, James Gunn, Michael Rooker from The Walking Dead, who is now dead on that show, so he's moving on to movies, and he plays Yondo. Jaimin Hansu, who is in Amistad, plays Corinth. Lee Pace plays Ronan, a Kree soldier. Karen Gillan from Doctor Who plays Nebula. Benicio del Toro plays the Collector. And then we get on to the Guardians of the Galaxy themselves. We mentioned Michael Rooker, but then there's also Dave Bautista, the wrestler, who plays Drax, Zoe Saldana as Gamora, and in the lead role is Chris Pratt from Parks and Recreation, and he plays Star-Lord. Now, when they arrived, the Guardians of the Galaxy cast just flew out for the panel because they're filming currently in London, so they all flew out together. James Gunn talks about how he's very freaked out when he got the gig. He realized it's not that different from making an independent film, and that they're trying to do something different and new. Marvel is, you know Marvel from their famous characters like Spider-Man, the X-Men, Captain America, and now they're moving on to a group of figures in the Marvel universe that is not as well known, which is the Guardians of the Galaxy. Chris Pratt jokes that when he got the role, they said, "Great job, but you're too fat." So he's been working out. Peter Quill as Star-Lord is a guy who lives in space. He's kind of a jerk and had a hard time as a kid, and now he goes around space making out with hot alien girls and being a rogue. Zoe Saldana jokes that she's been blue once, so she figured why not try green. Former WWE champion Dave Bautista still can't believe he got the job. Kevin Feige says that he really earned it after auditioning 5 or 6 times. The audition process for a movie can be somewhat long, and Dave says that he's a baby on set in terms of acting ability. He goes on to set every day looking to learn something new, and he's very lucky to be around such talented people. James Gunn also called the main villain, Benicio del Toro, and asked him if he read the screenplay, and that's how he really got involved. And then Lee Pace, who plays Ronan, he describes him as a very complicated Kree, which is an alien in the Marvel Universe, and he's also a beast. He plays Ronan the Accuser, and Jaimin Hansu plays Korath, who is an ally between Ronan and Thanos, and then Karen Gillan, who gets a big response from the crowd, especially from the Doctor Who gang. She plays Nebula. And word is that Thanos has not been casted, and someone actually rumored and say that Vin Diesel is going to be playing that role. Let's see, moving on. Let me just set up something here, and there we go. Going on to the DC panel. Now, if Marvel won in terms of overall presentation of their products and properties, Then DC won on just the sheer excitement of one announcement. During the Warner Brothers movie panel, director of Man of Steel, Zack Snyder, came out and announced that there would, in fact, be a sequel to Man of Steel. Yes, that was the big announcement. What you didn't see was when he made that last statement. You saw up on the big screen, the Superman logo, and then superimposed or appearing right behind that Superman logo was the Batman logo. Yes, in the sequel of Man of Steel, Batman and Superman not only meet, but they fight. The little narrative you heard Henry Lennox read was from The Dark Knight Returns, the graphic novel from Frank Miller, in which Superman pursues Batman for his vigilantism as he attempts to take down the Joker. Now, just something to note that Zack Snyder was very quick to state that the sequel to Superman is not an adaptation of The Dark Knight Returns, but more as an inspiration. This is KTST-FM. You're listening to Secret City Geek Lab. I'm Alan, and we're going to finish up our little discussion of some of the big news from Comic-Con with the X-Men panel. Big thing, they brought out the entire cast of the X-Men, starting with Bryan Singer, the director, Hugh Jackman, who played Wolverine, Simon Kinberg, the writer, and Lauren Schuler-Donner, who is the producer. Omar Sy, I'm not sure who he plays, but Ellen Page was there. She plays Kitty Pryde. Sean Ashmore plays Iceman. Anna Paquin, Rogue. Halle Berry will play Storm. Ian McKellen was there, and he plays an older Magneto. And his younger version, Michael Fassbender, was there as well. Patrick Stewart, the older Professor X, was also joined by James McAvoy, who played his younger. Jennifer Lawrence appears as Mystique, Nicholas Hoult as Beast, Peter Dinklage, and Evan Peters are the two new additions. Peter Dinklage will play Oliver Trask, and Evan Peters is going to play Quicksilver. Singer says that he loves working with an ensemble. There's a lot of interesting people and things to cut to, specifically of direction, and he was very much excited about directing again. It's wonderful to return to this family and work with these new people. Halle Berry says that she loves playing Storm because she's calm and collected, the Earth Mother of the group, but she hates the fact that Storm doesn't get some. Paige said that being in that first movie really blew her mind. Based on the scale and the size of the movie, she's mostly known for being in small films, and that she never thought she'd ever again get to play Kitty Pryde and be back in these movies. And if you're familiar with the comic book X-Men Days of Future Past, Kitty Pryde plays a big part in that along with Wolverine. Not sure if that's true for this upcoming version. Omar Sy, he's going to play Bishop. He's a guy from the future, and he fights for survival. And then Bocher asks the producers more important questions, and he says that it's really important that they stay loyal and honor the original comic books and the original stories. All right, so there we go. That's today's Secret City Geek Lab. This has been episode 22, and it's brought to you by Secret City Comic Society, Fullerton's best in all ages improv comedy. Come back next week for more news, updates in the world of geekdom and nerdy. We're going to be talking a little bit more about what happened at Comic-Con. I've got some interviews. Hopefully I'm going to have a report from Dimitri and Will Acker about their time at the Walking Dead Escape, the zombie obstacle course. Want to thank today Sophia Bien and Davey Lynham for their reviews. And until next time, have a geek week.